welcome to Not Your Cup of Tea with Aisha.
And Tia.
This is episode number 7. This is our third and final part to our series, Ready, Set, Heal. Today we'll be focusing on spirit, and we have invited 2 pastors today here with us. This is Pastor Randy Ramey, my uncle, and I'll let you introduce
And this
him.
is Pastor Debnam from Bowman Chapel, and we'll let you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourselves as well.
Again, I am Dr. Pastor Randy Ramey of New Day Church in Dixon, Tennessee. I've been pastoring there for about 16 years. My wife's name's Nicole. We have 2 daughters, and we love traveling, vacation, and hanging out, having fun. So we are saved and still having fun.
All
So,
right.
Hey,
you can do that.
That's right. We still laugh, we still play, we still joke.
That's why we have you here.
Yeah, in Jesus' name.
So I'm honored to be here and looking forward to it.
Thank you.
My name is Dr. T.J. Debnam. I am a native of Nashville, and it's good to be back home, let me say that. I have one son, Tyreek Debnam, my pride and joy. And right now I'm actually we're celebrating because I have 2 books that's coming out. One is a children's book, and the other one's an action-packed G.I. Joe meets Wakanda type.
Okay.
You have to give us a link or
they're most
something.
likely they'll be coming out probably around by Father's Day.
Oh, great. We can post a link
I
then.
didn't plan it that way, but that just seemed like how the Spirit of God is moving.
Yes.
But I'm excited to be here. And again, shout out to my church, Bowman Chapel United Methodist Church. I love you. Yeah.
All right.
Great. So I feel like I am a millennial, and I feel like my generation is like the last generation that had to go to church. It's like it was not an option. So I feel like
That is true.
we got to experience what real church was like. For Easter, getting ready, get your hair burnt up, put on your little fluffy socks.
Not
and
only
fat leather
Easter,
shoes.
though, my pawpaw took me to Bowman Chapel every Sunday. I went to Sunday school.
Yes.
I was the only child there, but I went to Sunday school every Sunday.
I used to love riding the little van to go to Sunday school, but I feel like that is a great foundation for keeping God in your life as an adult, because
Absolutely.
when you're young, you're like, I don't want to go to church. I don't want to be here. But you find the good parts of church that make you want to keep going. And then when you're an adult, you have that foundation of, I know this is where I need to be. I know what you get out of church. But yeah, I don't feel like we have that anymore.
What do y'all think?
That's interesting because as you was taking us down memory lane, I was just kind of reflecting on my own time growing up in the church, and unfortunately we live in this time where we have the black church and then you have all the other churches, and I say that because I'm a part of the black church. But in the black church, I learned how to public speak. I learned how to tell good jokes. I learned what it was like to be accountability from all the deacons lined up, and my mama telling them that I got in trouble at school, and they all coming in talking to me. I just remember like you said, I didn't want to go with my mom because she had to go and help print programs for the Women's Day program. And I'm like, man, I do not want to be doing this. We're going to be playing football. I'm going to miss so much. But by the time I got there, time just seemed to go by fast. And it was just like that for everything throughout my experience with church. But also, like you said, I think society plays a big role as to why you don't see everybody got to go to church, Sunday school, vacation Bible school, Women's Day, and go help print books. I think it's a reason why I think society plays a big role. Caesar has something to say about how we live our lives as far as the church in the open. And I'm sure we're going to get to more
We are.
about
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because I was one of those that was,
Yeah.
I grew up in the church, but I have strayed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the challenge is trying to find what works to get people to come back to church. And we're living in the era now where it's actually the children that are challenging the moms and dads to come, and not necessarily the moms and dads with the children.
really.
Because I get it a lot. The child is saying, I want to go to church. Mom, I want to go to church. So we have that. A lot of them are bringing them to church, which is helping out. But again, as it relates to the church, we have to find out what works to get them into church. And it's a challenging thing to be able to do.
He opened Pandora's box with that one. Yeah. You're not wrong.
Hey, you
You're
want to
not- you're not
piggyback
wrong.
off of that?
Well,
Go ahead.
he's not wrong because, first of all, as a pastor, I'm only been a pastor for 2 years. And the one thing for me is I noticed in a lot of churches, men are not there. Well, one of the reasons is when they go to church, they feel less than. They see their wife running to go fix the plate for the pastor. They hear their wife comparing them to the pastor. They hear that mama tell them, you need to be more like Pastor so-and-so. So it's almost like with everything else I have to deal with, now they haven't really met the pastor. So they're thinking, you have already created this separation between myself and the pastor because you have created this perfect man. And I got to compete with that, so I'm not going to be around that. So,
Putting them up on a pedestal.
yeah, you putting them up on this pedestal,
Well,
and then
y'all are humans too.
and then when the pastor make a mistake, I told you so. So it's almost like that's another form of trauma right there, where that's the perfect man, son, whatever. You just fill in the blank. So I think for the men, it's like I'm not finna try to compete with this perfect image you have, and then when he or she do fall, I told you so.
I told you so.
So why I need to be a church for?
You got a good point.
In your face.
Yeah.
But putting people on a pedestal inside a church, outside of church is like a bad thing because everybody is human.
Exactly.
Like, no matter what, people will always let you down. You hope that they won't, but that's all you can
I
do.
mean, people are human. That's going to happen.
Right. That leads into our church folks.
Choked first.
So my thing is, I'm all for someone telling me how to be better, do better. But I also feel like that person that is giving that advice should also follow the advice that they are giving.
Absolutely.
Because if you're telling me don't do this and I see you out in the same place that I'm out at, I'm going to feel like...
But you're kind of hiding from me.
Yeah, you're like, why are you hiding? Like, I'm out.
I'm here too.
I'm being myself. I'm in the moment. Why are you over there hiding like you ain't supposed to be here? And the
Right.
sneakiness, just put that
Put
away.
it away.
Yeah.
There's no need for that. We're all in the same place. Like you said, you're a pastor, you still have fun.
Yes.
Fun doesn't go away just because you're spiritual or religious.
God is in fun because I hope that God protects me in everything that I do.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I don't feel like you should separate your fun from God. God is within your fun. Hopefully your fun is genuine.
I know God funny for calling me into ministry. I know God gotta have a sense of humor.
That's two of us.
Yeah. Like that's the first thing you said. Why, Lord? Yeah. For the type of people he uses, it's almost like I know some of my friends when they see me, they be like, "You a pastor?" And I'm like, I know. I say the same thing, so I know God got to be a God of fun.
Yeah. I do think that God has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Has to, because where do we get it from if he doesn't?
Yeah. And when you hear the thing, church folk, most of the time when you hear it, it's in a negative connotation, I guess you would say. But the thing when you hear it, we have to all realize that we've all been unsaved
Yes.
now that we're saved.
Yeah.
I'm in the church, but I used to be unsaved. But then you have the quote unquote church folk that act like I didn't smoke nothing.
Like,
I
they
didn't
ain't
do
done nothing
Ain't
ever.
never
I didn't do
took a sip
anything
of
wrong.
nothing.
Right.
I've been saved all my life.
No, you may not have done what I did,
Yeah.
But you done something.
but you done something.
Right.
Yeah.
Your past say everybody got a past.
Everybody.
Like, yeah.
Everybody.
And that's the way I look at it. You know, No, you didn't smoke, but did you cheat on your taxes? Did you lie?
Hey, a lie's a lie.
A lie's a lie. So my area may not be your area, but you do have an area.
You do.
Yes.
And we have to be transparent. Transparency is what helps us with transformation. Because, yes, I was unsaved.
Yeah.
Yes, I did do these things. And where we have to come in as it relates to the church is we have to use our stories from the past instead of hiding those things so that we can help somebody in the present.
All right.
The only people that don't want to use their past are the ones that are still doing the same thing in the present.
Amen.
Okay.
That's why even in the pulpit, I'll say, before I got saved, I'll say it 3 times, before I got saved, I drank with the best of them. I got drunk. I slept around. I done all kind of things. And as Dr. TJ said, God is a risk taker. For him to call me knowing what I done, but then you'll have church folk that will remind you of what you done. I
Yes.
said, you don't have to remind me. I was the leading character.
Right.
I was there. But just know that God can still change you. We just have to use our past to help others in the present.
And that's what I like when y'all preach. I've heard both of y'all preach. I can relate to what you're
Yes,
saying.
yes.
It's not just you preaching, oh, do this, be this, blah, blah, blah. And
You're, if you do this, you're going to hell.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the main reason why we asked both of you guys here
Yeah.
is because you are 2 relatable pastors, as Aisha said, that I've heard speak, and you don't hide anything. You don't. It's all out in the open. You say, hey, I've done this, I've been there, and you can relate. I think the last sermon I heard you speak was at the church picnic last summer.
Ah,
And you were preaching about Tupac.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, I can get with him.
Yeah.
being able to relate, it just, yeah.
Oh, I think Dr. Rainey, you was also touching on the point about how, and you as well, my sister T, as far as when we try to hide things like that, when first this conversation about spirituality and how it plays is we have to deal with the duality of the spirit and the flesh, and they occupy the same space. And
Yes, they
whatever feed my flesh is going to feed my spirit. Whatever feed my spirit, my flesh is going to definitely benefit from that. So I can't separate the two. I don't know nobody, unless you have, Dr. Rain, and met somebody who are in their physical body, but they don't have their spirit. I ain't never met nobody like that. And what I mean by that is, I think sometimes church folk, when you hear that term, I think church folk want to live and they want to appease the spirit and talk about the spirit and say you leave that flesh outside, when at the end of the day, your body, your flesh is what's going to be crying. Your brain, your flesh is what's going to be mentally hurt or dealing with trauma. And if that's not right, I don't care who you are. If you having pain and hurt or whatever, it's going to be hard for your spirit, no matter how eloquently you speak in tongues, no matter how well you pray or whatever it is that you do, that you say is the spirit part of you. If that body is going through something, that spirit is being harmed as well.
Yeah. Body, mind, and spirit.
Exactly.
You got to heal
Yeah.
all 3 at the
It
same
plays
time.
the same.
Yeah.
It does.
I agree. And I feel like with church folk, like, it's easy for them to forget their past and then remember what you did,
Yeah.
as you were saying.
Yeah.
So if we could just cut them out of church.
I wouldn't say cut them out of church, but I mean, change their perspective on things.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's hard for those people. And I feel like those people are who has like ran our generation away from church. And that's why churches, like the attendance levels are down, because
Sure are.
I'm not getting ready to go to church and deal with ignorant people when I could just listen to church on TV.
Church hurt. We're getting there now.
Church, easy flow into church hurt. I feel like everybody has an experience with someone at church that
Yes.
wasn't of God. So, and that pushes people away from the church itself.
And I'll be honest, that's the reason I stopped going to church. I went to church every Sunday. Like I said, growing up, my papa took me to Sunday school every Sunday. I went in Sunday school with Miss Fanny Van Leer. You know, I was in church. Again, I was the only child there. But then when I got grown, I left Bowman and went to Worley, which I am still a member there. But that's the reason I don't go is just because there's so much finger pointing and you know, you didn't do this or you doing that or I heard you was doing this and that, and I'm like, you know what?
Mind your business.
First, and then second, I don't have to deal with this. God knows my heart, and I don't feel like that's, you know, he knows my heart. Maybe I do need to be in church, but maybe I don't need to be in church to get what I need to get from him.
Yeah. Agree.
To say that. I'm a big fan of the desert fathers and mothers, and there's this one desert father by the name of Moses. He was considered a big dark skinned gentleman from Africa, and so they were living in this monastery. And one of the fathers had committed an act. He got a woman pregnant or whatever. And everyone was trying to throw him out. And they asked Father Moses, they said, what do you think? What do we need to do? And there was like 2 buckets of water. And he said, I want you to poke 2 holes. I want you to poke a hole in each bucket. And I want you to pick them up and walk to the end of the room. So the father did it. He picked it up and he walked. And he said, what was that for? And Father Moses said, my sin is behind me. And I just think we probably need more mirrors in the church to remind us.
Don't we?
More mirrors in the
More
church.
mirrors in the church. We might, you can go to the hotel room, got the mirror.
Yeah.
You might need it in the church and up there so you can see that this is what a sinner look like. This is what
Because we all are.
someone who's not perfect look like. It look like me. And I think if we have those opportunities to reflect on our own journeys, you'll understand the movement of God in other people's lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like what you were saying. Like, you don't want to go anywhere and people are pointing fingers. In a small town like Dixon, everybody just happens to know everybody's business.
And everybody thinks they know everybody's business.
Know.
Let's put it like
they make
that.
up their own stories. So, yeah, it just snowballs into what they think. But I don't want to go and people be looking at you and be staring, pointing. I hate that part of it. Like that, I feel like that is one of the things that stop me from going every Sunday also.
Yeah, and we have to figure out, even with what y'all have just said, how do we get y'all back?
Yeah.
Because
That's a good question.
everybody
That's a great
has been hurt in some shape, form, fashion.
Yeah.
And it's like this. If I break my wrists, I have to go to the doctor, may have to have surgery, and it may require some physical therapy
Yeah.
to get my wrist back to the way it needs to be. If I have been hurt by somebody in the church, I need the same thing. I need physical therapy. I may need some counseling. I may need some coaching. I may need something to help me get over this because I have been hurt. And anytime you hear church hurt, I don't like to say that we were church hurt. We got hurt by somebody that went to church.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's look at it like this. If I go to Shoney's and one of the workers is rude to me and hurts my feelings.
You don't call it Shoney's hurt.
Yeah, I don't say Shoney's hurt me. I said somebody at Shoney's
Yeah.
hurt me at my job.
Yeah.
There have been people that rubbed me the wrong way at the job, but guess what I didn't do? I didn't leave the job because I'm not there for them. They were just a bad representative of where I was and who they said that they were.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have to look at it as it relates to church. Yeah, there are people in the church that hurt us. But I need that because that's where I learn certain things. That's why I see people that are dealing with things just like I'm dealing with things, but sometimes there are bad representatives for God's church. But we can't allow them to be the ones that are the true representatives. We have to say, you know what? Yeah, it hurt me, but now let me figure out how I can heal. Because at the end of the day, if we don't heal, we stay stuck.
You're right.
It's our last
And-
episode was the mind, like
Yeah.
in therapy.
Yeah, and you're right, because I'm stuck in not going to church.
Yeah. Because there's some things that hurt me. And listen, I needed the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, coaching, counseling, therapy. I needed all of it to get past it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And had I not got that, there would have been me staying away from the church. But I found out I needed help to heal.
Okay.
And I got the help that I needed so that I didn't turn around and hurt someone else. Because it's not all churches that are that way.
No.
You know?
Not at all.
And it's not all pastors that are that way. If I get bad food at Shoney's, I'm headed to Old Charlie's. But I got to eat.
Yeah.
Right.
And we need the spiritual side of those things. And yes, there are times we can get it at home, but then there are times we need to be there because it's a different type of
It
atmosphere.
is.
Yeah.
You know, it's different. So we just have to find out, what do I need to heal so that I can return, still love God. He still loves me.
Yeah.
But now it's about bringing people back to the church, even though we were hurt by somebody in the church.
Ooh, you're helping me.
Right.
I'm serious. You are, because I just,
I also think too that goes back to the pedestal that the church is on and how much importance that we place on the church. It's like, again, to your hospital analogy, if that emergency room doesn't do what it's intended to do, that's going to be a big problem.
absolutely.
As a millennial, I think that if every millennial would start voicing their opinions and having a moment to where they can really speak truth to power as to what's keeping them away, that would cause the church to really reflect on how they're doing things. I think a lot of times we leave without giving our piece or saying, hey, again, if you at Shoney's, if them eggs ain't
Where
right,
the manager at?
if that spread ain't out there with the cheese sauce ain't out there with them eggs, you gonna say something. Or if whatever type of service they provide, you're gonna say something, and it's gonna give them opportunity to fix. Give the manager, give the pastor opportunity to fix what's broken. And I think sometimes we miss those opportunities, because I've done it too. I don't care, I'm just gonna leave. I ain't studying that. But then you come back for anniversary, or you come back
Easter.
with your mother for Mother's
What
Day,
is it,
and it's
CME,
still it's
Christmas,
awkward.
Mother's Day,
Yeah,
Easter?
it becomes awkward because it's like
And it is.
you hurt because you sitting there, you like,
I just
man.
sit in the back like that.
Yeah,
I agree
yeah,
with that, because
yeah.
the
Yeah.
last time I went to church was Mother's Day last year at Bowman.
Yeah.
And it was awkward for me.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like it should have been awkward for me, because I know what this is. I grew up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when we don't get what we need,
Yeah.
the healing that we actually need, then it kind of prolongs the seasons that we're in.
Right.
Because it is possible to, when you've been hurt, you want apology. But if nobody knows that you're actually hurt,
Yeah.
then it's hard to get that. And anytime I have people that are missing from our church, I reach out to them. Even if they go and join another church, I still reach out to them, because I want to know, did someone do something?
Yeah.
Was there something that was said or done to you?
Wow.
Or did God say, it's just time for you to go?
Yeah.
Because if there was something that was wrong, whether it was an usher or a deacon or something said, didn't speak to me, looked at me the wrong way, I want to know so that I can try to fix those things.
Yeah.
Because it leads into forgiveness. We have to learn to forgive. Because if we don't, again, we stay stuck. And I used to teach forgive and forget. But there are traumatic things that have happened in our lives that I will never
Never
forget.
Never.
Yeah.
But it was through God and teaching and counseling and therapy that helped me forgive without forgetting. Now I'm not trying to tell people to forget it. It's just we have to deal with the memory of that so that the memory that happened in the past
Yeah.
doesn't continue to traumatize me in the present.
Yeah.
And we have to have help with that.
Yeah.
But many times we try to deal with it by ourselves. And that's the thing that we can't do because
right.
we all need help to heal.
Dr. Miriam said, call Jesus and,
And
call
your,
your therapist.
and your therapist.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
I got one.
We do too. Proud to say it.
Yes.
And to your point on speaking up, I think the elders of the church have prevented that
Yes.
from happening.
That stay in a child's place, what we talked about on the last
Yes.
one. Like they don't see you as an adult.
No,
to
they see
have a
you as
voice.
who you are, who you were when you were a child. You know, they don't allow. I won't say they don't allow, but they make it to the point to where you don't feel comfortable.
They minimize it.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question. Why do you think that is? And I'm going to respond to your question.
Why do I
to
think?
your answer. Why do you think that the elders are such? And when we say elders, you're talking about the veteran saints.
Yes.
Older.
Why do you think that is?
Because they're set in their ways.
Or how about this? There are power dynamics in the church that we don't really want to discuss. If you have that that senior saint who has been in charge for 30 years,
Senior
40
saint, I
years,
like that.
and then someone else come up in talking about, yeah, we've done a soup kitchen every year, every Wednesday for 30 years. Well, why don't we try housing mothers who've been affected by domestic abuse? That ain't their wheelhouse. So that means I got to negotiate power with you. And until we have these conversations that the church, and again, I'm speaking about the black church because that's the church I've been in, and that's the one I can really speak confidently about. Until we really discuss, the black church has set up power structures where a lot of these people didn't have power in 1963.
Sure did.
1962.
They was like us.
Right.
But when they go to the
In the back
church,
of the church.
when they go to the church, I get all these keys and I can choose who come in and who come out, how long they here, how long they not. That's power too. So until we fully have productive conversations around power dynamics in the church, it's going to be constant. They're stuck in their ways, which there is a part of it too, but it ain't the ways, it's the power.
Yeah. I also feel like roles like that, they also need to be divided amongst people. So no one gets that big head of, oh, I'm over
running this.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the pastor is the pastor of the church.
That's right.
That is
They are the
head,
leader.
Like that is it. I shouldn't have to go to this deacon to be able to talk to the pastor and do this, or even like you said, like volunteer or make a new idea of what should be going on. The pastor is who you should have those conversations with. But other people appoint themselves to be.
All the time.
That's how we always do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've always done it this way. Well, I mean, it's 2025. This is
Like
not
you-
1962
You
anymore.
gotta step out of that.
You've got to.
Yeah.
You got to step out of that.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a battle between like millennials. We're very much work hard, but like find an easier solution, like to
Smarter,
make
not
every
harder.
smarter, not harder. Yes,
I'm a member of that club.
Yeah. But I feel like
Yeah.
it's older people in the church that's just like, nope, this is how we're doing it. We're not changing it for whoever is coming. Some churches are not y'all's, but they're not welcoming open arms to new people. So I feel like there is a wall to like voice your opinion. Like we were talking about the cage bird in the last one. Like you mute your voice because you don't want to go up against somebody's granny. People fight over their granny.
Oh, yeah.
So you just mute your opinion because you don't want to deal with older people. Because you want to show them respect.
Respect.
Even
We've been taught to show your elders respect.
Yes, but they are not giving you respect back. But you just carry on.
And one thing I try to do at our church is people always assume that when something happens, pastor knows about it.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, pastor doesn't know about everything, but someone has to tell him so that he does know. And once he does know, then God will give us the direction that we need to go in. So one of the things that I do to stop the platform thing and just, it's pastor. No, I'm still a man.
Yeah.
I'm a husband. I'm a brother. I'm a man. All these things, but to try to rid that out of the church because it's been there for so long, I stand at the door every Sunday and greet people that come in. Church starts, I'm still at the door because this is something that I want people to know that I'm not an untouchable person. You can talk to me, and I want to create an atmosphere for you to be able to come to let you know that you are welcome. So each person that comes through that door, I shake their hand or I hug them. When church is over, I'm back at the door, letting them know, thank you for coming, that you are welcome here. I am not somebody that I'm not God, but I'm a man that wants to be relatable and to let you know that you're welcome here. I try to teach the ushers, the deacons, I say, if a new person comes into the church, what impact would it make if everybody went over and greeted him or greeted her? What do you think that would do?
It would make them feel wanted.
Like, thank
exactly.
You for
Like you
inviting me to
appreciate me
feel
being
welcome.
here.
Yes. I said, but so many times we're talking to the person that we all know, the person that we talked to last night, the person we talked to over the weekend, when we should be looking for people that are coming in to find out what is it that they need. Because everybody that comes there
You need something.
needs something,
Need something.
whether they voice that or not. And we have to be in a position to say, you know what, let's try to help them. If we can't help them, let's point them in the direction of where they can get the help that they need. And that's something that we all have to do going forward.
When I first started at Bowman 2 years ago, which seems like a long time ago, first thing I told my ushers is, and this may be a moot point for some people, but I told my ushers that I don't want you to see yourselves as ushers. I want you to see yourself as medics. I was in the Army, and I was just always so impressed by how medics always met needs, and they looked for people who had needs. And you got somebody coming in, they might be stinking, maybe had a terrible night, but again, it's like you said, what would it be like if a medic usher went over to them and said, what happened to you? What you need? Can I get you some water? And I think that will be very, and of course, we're always limited on what we can do, but just to acknowledge, I see that you're in a state of panic. I see that you're hurting. I see that you're in need, because guess what? I am too. It's a hospital. Again, hospital. Yeah, so that was one thing I really tried to really inject into the veins of the church is that we're medics. See what people need. See where they need help at. A bottle of water go a long way.
Yes, it will.
Yes, it does. I agree, and I like that you acknowledge with people that I see you, I see your pain, I see what you're going through, your struggle.
Yeah.
Let me help you however I can, and if I can't help you, let me find someone else that is able to.
But a lot of people, I think, to that point, they don't want to go because of what people will say.
Yeah,
I agree.
that's fair.
And that's when we have to move outside of the walls. It's like I had a brother to come through, and I could tell he was dealing with some things going on. And I don't want to come down in front of the church to be prayed for,
Yeah,
but I got something I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
So then we have to use different methods
Yeah.
to still try to reach him. And so I says, give him my number. Here's a resource for you.
yeah,
I can't make you use it, but I can let you know here is a resource. I said, and you may not know me now. I said, but you can ask some people about me, and they'll be able to tell you about me. I said, I'm here to try to help you along the journey. I don't want nothing from you. I just want to help. And some people will reach out at different times, different seasons.
yeah,
But if we don't make ourselves accessible
yeah.
and available when somebody does call, then guess what? We just let them down.
Yeah.
And then they'll label the church. I'm not going back to any church because that pastor said he's going to help. He didn't help.
And he didn't.
Yeah.
So I have people around me that help me stay accountable even to my word, because we all have to have that. And it's all about creating an atmosphere for people to feel safe.
and this is off topic. We don't even have this topic on, but to that point, how do you when you get to larger churches, mega churches, how do you stay in contact with your flock? Like how do you the same relationship you're talking about you have with people, you give numbers, because you don't see that at bigger churches. So how, I guess I'm asking, how does that work? How do you reach your people when you're in a church of that size?
Bishop Walker,
Yes.
and I'm gonna give him his flowers, but also I want to give you your flowers too. What happens is it's word of mouth. When I first, when I had a friend whose daughter passed, and the ministry that Bishop Walker did with their family
I know exactly what you're talking about.
was amazing, and that was something that I was like, I had to learn that just, and I'm a hospice chaplain, and that's my everyday job, but to see the way he ministered to that family, one of the things was he allowed them to grieve. He allowed them to be angry and to be upset with God, because that had to happen. That natural process of grief and things like that had to happen. So I think with, and I can't speak for all, I think because my mom is a part of Mount Zion as well, because she was like, I don't want to be close to my pastor, no one like that. But I think with those pastors who have those large churches, I just think it goes back to allow me an opportunity to fix it. Allow me an opportunity to be there for you. And if I'm there for you, then I'm doing what it is that God has ordered me to do. And if I don't, then give me an opportunity to fix it. Because I can't tell you how many times I done failed or dropped the ball and stuff like that, but it's all about trying to fix what's going on. Because like I was saying with you, when I first came to Dixon, everybody was talking about you. I think that's when you was in the process of getting your church started, and my church was, everybody was like, oh yeah, he good people, he does his thing. So it was like, I don't know if you're in a mega church culture right now, I don't really know your numbers, but I know that it was word of mouth about Pastor Rainey, Dr. Rainey, that I kept hearing, and it was all good. So hey, what you do will last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all about your desire to want to do what it is that you're called to do, which I think goes
Darn,
into
flowing
Next
finding
Yeah.
your purpose.
finding
Yeah.
your purpose. The purpose of a thing is defined by the maker of the thing. We have these microphones. They're used to speak, communicate. Can't use them as a hammer because that's not what they were made to do. In finding our purpose, God is the one that made us. There is something that we all have a passion to do, that you love to do this. Whatever that is, ask God to help show you how to navigate into that purpose, and there'll be people that'll help. Yeah. The thing that even I do now as a pastor, I have a great supporting group that helps me do what I do. But I love people. And in the purpose, God has just now given me a platform to be able to do. You have to find out what that is, and you wake up to do that. Even if I wasn't getting paid to do it, I would still be doing it because I like helping people, serving people. And that's what the journey is really all about, helping people along the way. And I've always told God, no matter where you take this ministry, keep me humble and always remind me of where you found me. That keeps me standing at the door, greeting people that come in. Real ministry is not made on Sunday mornings. It's made outside of the church.
Yeah.
The one-on-one things that you have, the conversation that you have that other people don't see, the needs that you do help meet that other people don't see. That's what real ministry is all about. And once you find your purpose, it won't be like work. I love doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And you have to
It
find
was-
out what that is.
It was profound when I found my purpose, because several years ago, during Bible study, Pastor Douglas, he gave us a book to read, and it was called Purpose Driven Life. And I read that book, and that's what helped me, because I always wonder, like, what am I here for? Like, what is my purpose? I know that I'm here for something, but what is that? And that book helped me to find that.
Like with my job, I always volunteer every month. We serve at the Nashville Rescue Mission. I love going there, meeting the people that are behind the scenes also, because they've been through things and they're in a program. So every month I make sure that faithfully I'm there to serve those people. It just makes you feel good, and then also, with me not going to church, I just feel like it's like me giving back. Like, okay, God, you know my heart is good. I'm not in the building, but I am doing ministry work. So yeah, I feel like I'm still in my journey of finding my full purpose. I know what I like, and I know the things that make me feel the best. But just seeing those things out, that's where I'm at.
I think Jay-Z said, my purpose wasn't perfect. And I think our purpose is not perfect, but it's something that we're going to constantly do, no matter if we're in the valley season or the mountain season. I'm going to preach in season, out of season. I'm going to serve people when I'm dealing with my own trauma. So I just think that your purpose, you will know it, because it constantly feeds you no matter what's going on in your life, whether you got $3 in your bank account or $10,000 in your bank account. You're going to always come back to this, because there were some times where I preached, taught, and worked for free. But I knew this was in my purpose, and I knew that eventually God's going to reward me, so I don't have to worry about the reward. I just want to do my purpose. And I think that goes for everybody. No matter what it is that you're doing, it's gonna constantly feed you, no matter where you're in your life. I think that's a good telltale sign of this is my purpose.
Like this podcast. I feel like it may not be a huge profit, but it feels good. Like, I'd love for us to get on here, and this may not be everybody's cup of tea.
Right.
But we have a good time.
Hey, I don't see y'all smile about 70 times. So, hey, it must be, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like getting to know people at a deeper level, like, yes, I know you're my uncle, but just hearing personal opinions and being in personal conversations with people, I love that part of the podcast. So our next one is spiritual healing, which is why we are here. With the therapist, she was saying, like, call your therapist and call Jesus. But how do you embark on your spiritual healing journey?
In order to get anywhere, you have to decide, I'm not staying where I am. It is an individual decision. It's like if I'm at a job and I've been on that job, I can stay on the level I'm on, or I can decide to go higher. At the end of the day, it's an individual decision. If I have been hurt in any shape, form, or fashion, I have to have a desire to say, I'm not going to stay hurt. Until you do that, you can send pastor, you can send deacon, you can send elder, you can send everybody, but that person has to arrive at a place in their life to say, you know what? I need healing, mind, body, soul, spirit. We owe it to ourselves, but many times because of what we've dealt with, how long we've dealt with it, it can become normal. Anytime you keep doing the same thing over, this is normal for me.
Yeah.
And then when a new normal comes, again, it's a decision to say, no, I'm not going to step into that. I'm going to stay here. Growth and comfortable never mix.
Facts.
That is very true, and I never thought of that, but it does not.
You know, if you're going to stay comfortable, you won't ever grow. There has to be some uncomfortableness in growing. Spiritual healing If we acknowledge the hurt, then we can begin to heal. We know what hurt us. We know who hurt us. We know where we were hurt. And we have to acknowledge that so that we can get whatever it is that we need so that we can move forward. Spiritual healing starts with us. It starts in my mind. If I keep saying, yep, I need this, eventually I'm going to start saying I need this. This podcast started with a thought.
It did.
Yeah.
Had it stayed in the thought realm,
We wouldn't be here right now.
never be here. Then you started speaking. Let's do this. And even after the speaking, if we don't put action behind the words, then it's just a good idea that stayed on the shelf. But you start speaking it, then you went and started acting, putting action behind your words. And now look, there may have been many against you, but look where you are.
We're not going to count them.
But look where you are.
Yeah.
You're walking in the manifestation of something that you spoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Healing is the same way. If I know I need it, I got to stop focusing on the ones that can't give it to me or even the one that hurt me. I got to start focusing on me and what I need. If I get cut and a doctor done me wrong over at Horizon, I'm not going to say, don't take me to Horizon.
Lord have mercy.
I don't know. I might
Take
not
me
say.
there and get me temporarily bandaged up and then
No.
take me on to
Send-
Vanderbilt
send me to
somewhere.
Nashville.
Just don't take me. As my papa said, let me die on the way to Nashville.
No, I don't do that. But my point is this. I need some care right then.
Yeah.
So let me get the care that I need right then. I may have to go further, but let me get what I need to stabilize me.
Just a Band-Aid.
Yes.
Yeah. Things that happen in the natural, we have to look at them even in the spiritual. I know I need this. So let me find out where I need to go to get what I need. The book that helped you,
Yeah.
that's a powerful thing. Whatever the tool that somebody needs, we just got to be open enough to help them get it, lead the avenue, and then they have to be the ones that walk in it. Spiritual healing is something that we all need because all of us have been hurt.
Yeah.
And if I don't get healed, hurt people hurt people. In some shape, form, or fashion.
Yes.
I like to say this. I know sometimes when we read the Bible, because it's so fast, and sometimes we can get caught up on our favorite thing about the Bible. I think sometimes we don't really, you've read it, but you probably don't really pay attention to it, that Jesus healed physical bodies. Like Jesus, healed bodies. So for one, Jesus' ministry is based off healing. So for those who may need that or need to hear that, Jesus, God, the Father, and the Holy Spirit want you whole, want you your wholest form of yourself. And if you can believe that, and if you need to hear that, then also check this out. You should participate in the healing of yourself. I think that's so important to say, I want to wake up and I want to be healed. I need to wake up and do what's necessary for me. I've poured into so many people, and I always forget to pour into my own self. Again, when you're on an airplane, the first thing they say is put your mask on, right? Before you even mess with anybody else's mask,
Do yourself.
put your own mask on. Before I go out and try to save the world, let me save myself. And that may be just me taking 5 minutes out my morning to say, I matter.
Yes.
Yeah.
The check-ins that the therapist, she
Yeah.
told us every morning, check in with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if I don't get self-care, I can't
help
administer
any-
other people
You
to
can't
care.
help anybody else.
Man.
Yeah.
You've got to help you first.
Yes, you do.
You can't pour into nothing if you don't got nothing to pour.
That's what you
Right?
said.
You just,
That is a lesson I'm learning.
yeah. yeah.
I'm learning.
Yes.
I full-heartedly agree. And I have started the checking in and seeing
That's
if
good.
I'm okay, and if I'm not okay, that is okay.
Yes.
But just to let other people know, hey, not right now. Like, it's okay for me not to be okay, and
Yes.
Yes.
just give myself time to
Yeah.
get to where I need to be.
And I've shared that with people before because most time they say, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. I'm good. Everything's well. But when you really know it's not,
Yeah.
And I had to even, teach that and learn that myself. It's okay to not be okay.
Yes.
But I'm not going to stay not being okay.
That's right.
Right.
You sit in it, but not for long.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And the thing that we have to even ask people and ourselves, anytime we're dealing with something, finding out what we need, the question is, where do you want to go from here? I understand what happened. I understand what you went through. I understand the things that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
But where is it that you want to go from here?
Yeah.
And we have to answer that realistically, because once we decide where we want to go, then we know who to bring along with us or where to go and get what we need so that we can get to the destination that we said we wanted to go.
Yeah.
Which would lead into like your personal relationship with God. Like, I may not go to church every Sunday, but I do make sure that I
Yes.
pray
Yes.
throughout every day.
Every day.
Like, I make sure that I have a gratitude journal. I write down the things that I'm thankful for every day, just because it keeps me, like you said, humble. I love to reflect back on where I've come from and how far that God has brought me. And I feel like a lot of people lose that whenever they get where they want to be in life.
Yeah.
But I always want to stay humble and remember that piece.
I think relationships, let's look at them in the natural standpoint. Me and my wife have a relationship. We spend time together. We hang out together. We invest in each other. And we do things that are fun because we're in a relationship.
Yeah.
If we're going to grow in the relationship, we have to keep communicating. We have to keep investing time. We have to keep spending time. Otherwise, you'll have people that are in the same place, but not on the same page. They'll say, we're in a relationship, but they don't talk. They don't do things that they love together. They don't do things that cultivate and help each other grow, but they say they're in a relationship. If we're in a relationship with God, we have to know his likes, his dislikes. Me and my wife in a relationship, and if you say, I'm going to feed you bologna, that's what she likes. And I'm going to tell you she don't like bologna. How do I know that? Because we have a relationship.
That's right.
Right. You know?
Or they say, you know what, your husband, he lies all the time. She's going to say, you don't know him. I know him because we're in a relationship. God's word is our manual of do's and don'ts. Once we find out what's right, what's wrong, then we govern ourselves accordingly. Because if I tell you that hurts me and you keep doing it, it damages the relationship.
It does.
You can't keep doing the wrong thing and think everything's going to be harmonious in the relationship because you're doing the very thing that I said not to do, but you say you love me. I don't need that kind of love.
Pray that love never finds
Exactly.
me.
When we're in a relationship with God, it doesn't mean that we get everything right. It just means that we're not going to intentionally do everything wrong. Still make mistakes, but we're still in the relationship. I'm willing to acknowledge I made a mistake. Lord, forgive me for what I did. But then I don't go back and do the very thing that I asked for forgiveness for, because guess what that does? Damage the relationship. If you keep saying you're sorry but doing the same thing, sorry is now of non-effect.
Yeah, sorry. It's just
No.
a
Because
better
you're
way.
doing things
That's
to
insanity.
Yes.
Right.
Because you're doing things to damage the relationship. If we're going to have a relationship with God, we got to protect it. We got to nurture it. And we have to do the things that it takes for that relationship to grow. If a relationship falls apart, it's not because a mistake was made, but it's because the same mistake was made too many times.
I agree.
I think for me, my personal relationship with God is it stems from I don't put any limits on God. I remember several years ago, it seemed like I got a no everywhere I went, and the things that should have been a yes was a no, and even when it was a yes, guess what? It was a no. And my mother who here he is. I'm supposed to be the theologian. I'm supposed to be the scholar. I'm supposed to be the preacher. Here is my mother saying, baby, don't give up. You got to keep pushing. And it seemed like then I went to a season where everything was a yes. And so I'm like, if God can do that for me, then God can do that for you. So I won't put any limits on God when God is dealing harshly with me. Like Naomi said, what she said, my name is no longer Naomi, it's Mora, because God has dealt harshly with me. But that didn't stop God for doing what God did for Ruth. And so I try to not put limits on God, and I'm not surprised when I feel the presence of God in my life and the move of God in my life and other people's lives. So I think that has really helped my relationship with God, but not only that, my relationship with other people as well.
No, I agree. I just feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, am I doing enough? Or is God going to see that, like, I am trying? And I like how you were saying, like, when you do hear no, 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 you're just like, okay, God, no, you
Like,
know,
what-
I
like,
done
what
put
is
in
what
all this
now?
time and effort. Like,
I know
help
you
me
don't
where
make
I'm at.
mistakes, but
Right.
what?
Like,
What else?
Yeah.
okay, Lord.
Yeah.
I'm being tested. But I feel like those are the foundation for you trusting and believing that God will make a way out of no way, because getting those back to back will have you like devastated.
Devastated, it will,
Yeah.
and discouraged. You don't want to keep.
Yeah.
You don't want to do it.
But after you come out of that, though, your faith is so strong.
So strong.
All them knows was doing it was training you
Yep.
and prepping you. So then when that blessing do come that you didn't even know that you needed, because it never come the way we pray for
Never.
it or the way we
The
think
way
it
we
should
think.
be.
Either.
when
it's
we
like-
want it.
Yeah.
How we want
Yeah.
it, what we
Yeah, but then when God do what God does, you be like, who but God?
Yeah.
So and from that time, my faith is probably the my greatest attribute is my faith, because I know what it was like when I was looked at like mud, when everybody in the family probably felt sorry for me, and probably my mama too. But now that I am where I am, it's like I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, and my son seen something different. 'Cause we know we hide everything from our children going through it. But once that blessing come and once things start going right, our children don't know, but they know something is different. And that's when you
You
get the
shine a
faith
little
journey.
bit different.
Yeah, you just know.
And I know I have a personal relationship with him. But even as pastor and you have titles, different things, there are times to where I don't hear him. He's not saying anything. And it used to be so frustrating. It's like, okay, God, I didn't hear no. I didn't hear yes, but I don't hear anything. And now, as I've matured in him because of the relationship, I know he's there. I know he's working. And I know he's doing something. I have to be patient enough to not go off and get a yes from a different area or somebody else. I'm going to keep waiting on him. And here's what he taught me. He says, if you don't hear me speaking, he says, keep doing the last thing that I told you when you did hear me speak.
Okay.
And I
I'm
said,
like,
say that
"Where's my
again.
pen?"
And I said, Lord, say that again. If you don't hear me speaking, keep doing the last thing you heard me say.
Yeah.
Don't change it.
Wow.
Don't go left or right. Keep doing the very thing that you did hear me say until you hear me speak again. It's kind of like a GPS. We live in this age now where when I get ready to go somewhere, I'm not even paying attention to where I'm going.
No.
GPS. And we were driving, we were going somewhere, and I didn't hear her say anything. And I looked at my wife, I said, are we still going the right way? I says, because the GPS hadn't said anything. And we went a little further, and then she said something. And God spoke to me. He says, when it's time for you to turn,
I'll
the
let you know.
GPS will let you know.
I'll let you know.
But if the GPS ain't saying anything, hold your position.
Yeah.
Stay on the path that you're on. keep going in the direction that you're going. But when it is time, I'll say turn, or I'll say stop, or I'll say do this, but don't you do anything until you hear me speak.
Because if you do, they will reroute you.
Yes, they will. They will reroute you.
Well, we do want to thank y'all for
Yes.
joining us. This
Thank
has
you.
been great.
Great
Needed
conversation.
it.
I really did.
Yeah. And, I'm going to try my hard. I'm not even going to say I'm going to try. I'm going to church tomorrow. Yeah. I feel like I need that for where I'm at and everything I'm going through. But thank y'all for coming in. We
Thank you.
are big gifters. But yeah, thank y'all for joining
Give you a
us.
small token for
thank you.
joining us
Thank
today.
you for having us.
Yeah,
I've
thank
really
you.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for coming.
Well, until next time,
Yep. Not your cup of tea.
peace out.